So as Lena mentioned, we have a in-person book club coming up on June 14th. If you are vaccinated, you're welcome to come to it. The book is The Weaver's Legacy. Pardon?
The 15th.
15th?
Yeah.
Okay. June 15th.
Yes.
The book is The Weaver's Legacy by Olive Collins, right, Lena?
But it's a very engaging book.
Okay, and then on June 24th, that would be our next normally scheduled meeting. We moved this meeting up a week because next week was the day before the Memorial Day weekend, and we didn't think we would get anybody interested. So we did it this week. But next week, the 24th would be the fourth week, but we are trying to get a speaker who we may need to be a little more flexible with. So we'll see what happens. And on July 31st, we are going to have a summer party in person again. Bring your vaccination card and we'll see each other in person again, which should be a lot of fun.
And you'll be getting information about that via email, etc.
So we are really thrilled to have tonight representative of the Office of Police Oversight from Austin. The Office of Police Oversight's mission is to provide impartial oversight of the Austin Police Department's conduct, practices, and policies to enhance accountability, inform the public, to increase transparency, and create sustainable partnerships throughout the community. And I mean, we've all heard about the police, and it's been a big question, and it's wonderful to see people who are trying to do something to improve relations with the police. And we are so thrilled to have tonight Carla Perito. She's a community engagement specialist with the City of Austin's Project of Police Oversight. Prior to joining the city, she served as a policy analyst with an El Paso member of the Texas House of Representatives, working on a diverse portfolio of legislative matters critical to many Texans. While at the Texas legislature, she served as the inaugural director of the Texas House LGBTQ caucus. Carla earned her Bachelor's of Arts in International Relations and Global Studies and Government from the University of Texas at Austin. While at UT Austin, she served as a community organizer with United We Dream and other local organizations to advance human rights that center on a life with dignity to all, especially BIPOC and immigrant populations. And so without further ado, I'm going to invite Karen to address the audience.
Hi, I think that's me, right?
Yep, that's you.
Oh, all righty, great. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you all for having me. I'd like to first preface everything by saying I'm still relatively new to the Office of Police Oversight. I've been in this role for about 3 months, and so I'm learning a lot, and I'm very happy to impart everything that I've learned so far and some of the things that our team, our community engagement team, have been working on. And it's also great we have Crystal here, who's on our policy team and might be able to answer any other questions you might have that I can't answer. So with that, I can go ahead and share my screen. And let's see, are you able to see the full view?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, great. Perfect. So now we can run over the agenda. It's a very brief presentation, again, because I am unable to speak to a lot of the legal work that we do, really great legal work, such as the complaint side and some of the data and reports, but we'll run through a lot of the other really important work that we do. First, through the mission statement, an overview, a demonstration of our website, how to file a complaint or a thank you through our office, and the overall complaint process. The mission statement of Office of Police Oversight is to provide impartial oversight of the Austin Police Department's conduct, practices, and policies to enhance accountability, inform the public to increase transparency, and create sustainable partnerships throughout the community. The Office of Police Oversight, its mission statement aligns with the best practices for civilian oversight as outlined by NACOL, which is the National Association for Civilian Oversight of Law Enforcement. And those 5 pillars are to improve public trust, promote thorough, fair investigations, deter police misconduct, increase transparency, and ensure accessible complaint processes. Oversight is an important first step towards police accountability and transparency in our communities. The 3 main focus areas of the Office of Police Oversight lie in community engagement, research, and complaints. We have civilians with legal, policy, and community engagement expertise staff our office. Communications, which is part of the community engagement team, includes public-facing members of our staff that are tasked with informing the community of our mission and educating people on the resources that we provide. Complaint specialists are professionals trained on the policies and procedures of the APD who review complaints and review the thank yous. And our policy and research team review APD policies for potential policy recommendations and conduct further research about best practices in policing. So this is an overview of our complaint process. First, the complaint is received. Then the Office of Police Oversight reviews the process. Internal affairs investigation then occurs, which is monitored by OPO, and internal affairs is a department of the Austin Police Department. The Chief of Police and Director of the Office of Police Oversight discuss the case. Then there comes a resolution and the potential closeout meeting. When people have concerns or complaints about potential police misconduct, those concerns need to be heard, investigated, and resolved. Complaint specialists in the Office of Police Oversight independently review every complaint and monitor the investigation process conducted by the APD Internal Affairs Division. Complaints are formally investigated as determined by Internal Affairs when they show a potential violation of Austin Police Department policies. Community members are able to submit both positive and negative feedback about their interactions with Austin Police on our website. They can also file complaints anonymously or upload video and photos with their feedback. Part of enhancing transparency with the community is ensuring that the documents we work with, including formal complaints, officer reprimands, suspension notices, policy recommendations, official memos, APD responses, and published reports, are made available to the public. These can all be found on our website. As part of OPO's core values of accessibility and language access, we strive to meet accessibility standards on our website. We prioritize learning from people of all abilities and hope and work to continually find better ways to understand their perspectives and experiences with policing in Austin. We are committed to providing information and services in English and in Spanish, and we're working to increase access in other languages. The mobile-friendly website can be translated to Spanish, and most documents are also available in Spanish. As part of our community outreach strategy, we're committed to connecting and collaborating with organizations dedicated to informing, collaborating, and empowering community members in Austin. The Austin community at large, we want to engage anyone interested in community and public safety and policing, communities that are disproportionately affected by policing. Statistics and studies have revealed that some groups are more negatively impacted by policing than others. Because of that, we hope to give presentations and educational workshops such as this one about Know Your Rights, an ongoing educational workshop that we give to the community. And again, we emphasize members of the LGBTQ community with an emphasis on reaching transgender, non-binary, and gender non-conforming members of the community, people experiencing homelessness, Black, Indigenous, and people of color, people living in the eastern crescent of the city, which historically has been home to Austin's most marginalized population in the east and southeast parts of Austin, immigrant, refugees, and non-English speaking communities, and people with disabilities. As the COVID-19 pandemic led the City of Austin to take precautions to ensure employees' health and safety, OPO began to work remotely, and in-person community engagement events came to a halt. However, our team is still committed to sharing our work virtually and continuing to communicate with the community. Some of our current engagement projects include gathering input on the A Can't Wait policy recommendations and a citywide town hall, which will be held this Friday, May 21st, in collaboration with the mayor's office and the equity office. And again, some of our series, our community engagement series, such as Know Your Rights and the current A Can't Wait policy recommendations, are all available virtually in English and in Spanish, with many other languages available by request. And we hope to expand our community engagement in the coming months to more in-person engagement. We have lots of ways people can contact us, and we always hope to expand our accessibility efforts. So complaints or thank yous can be submitted online, by phone, fax, mail, email, or in person. And we're continuously taking feedback, any public comment or suggestions on policy recommendations and just general Austinites' experience with policing through our emails, either policeoversight@austintexas.gov or opo.outreach@austintexas.gov. And last point, that you may always choose to remain anonymous when contacting OPO. It's a very important feature to ensure privacy and, of course, ensuring that folks feel safe coming forward with either a complaint or a thank you. And yeah, I think I'll wrap it up there for any questions on some of the work we do. Again, I want to preface by saying I might not be able to answer all of your questions, but I can definitely get back to you and have them answered by some of the policy experts or someone who can get the answer to you.
Are there any questions?
We did your. Go ahead, Sharon.
No, I was just gonna say, I know you said you were new in your role, is that correct?
That's correct.
Is the office new? Is this department new?
That's a good question. So the Office of Police Oversight is relatively new. It was established in 2018. And so, yeah, it's still, I would say, it's still in the stages of expanding our community work. I think I can speak to that. It's still hoping to get the word out about OPO, most importantly, that we're independent from the Austin Police Department. So we're dedicated to conducting transparent and accountable oversight of that department while also educating the community. So to answer your question, it's relatively new, and so is its community engagement efforts. So most of it is our work initially was to introduce the community to OPO, but now, of course, working off of the great work from our policy team and our complaints team to educate the community on the reports that are being put out. And yeah, I'm not sure if Crystal, please feel free to pitch in at any moment if you think you can chime in with any useful information.
Yeah, just on that. So it is, this iteration of the office is new, but there was prior an OPM. It was called the Office of Police Monitor. So, and it was much smaller, and the community engagement piece I don't think was there for the funding and stuff. So 2018 is when the office became what it is today, and it's expanded. I don't know how many employees they had just not too long ago, but they went from 3, I think 2 or 3 to 20, isn't it? Close to 20. And it's just, it's still, they're still hiring. So it's quite impressive what the director's done and the dedicated staff under her. It's an extremely impressive office to work with and to be a part of. So yeah.
So just one more question. Is it a part of the city of Austin, or is it independent from the city?
It is part of the city,
okay,
but it is not part, it is completely separate from the police department.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
What was the impetus of this change in it moving over in 2018 and expanding?
You know, I don't know exactly what do you know the answer to that, Carla?
I know there's a very detailed answer out there, and I'm happy to send it to you. I don't want to erase by me saying like a wrong or like a very short answer some of the really important history there. And so I'm very happy to get you an answer to that, Nina.
It was,
Sorry.
yeah, and I know that I don't know exactly what started, but city council and, you know, it was part of a big contract to meet and confer with the, the labor union, the police labor union, and it just completely changed. And then the funding completely, it just increased at that point to the point where they could hire and actually do the work that they're tasked to do. So.
I will add one last.
I feel bad not knowing it.
Have the police been cooperative and receptive to the organization?
I mean, we don't have a lot of interaction with the police themselves. So the complaints department does. And that's when the police are under investigation. And then, yeah, we work with the internal affairs and oversee them. And it's, you know, it's a complicated relationship, but it's a good rapport between the two. Just, you know, the newness of it, I think is, well, I guess it's not super new, but anyway, it's, it's a decent relationship. And I know that Farah, the director, has a good relationship with APD.
Have there been major problems?
I shouldn't speak to that, but anyway, go ahead.
Have there been major problems and complaints that have been investigated and resolved through the organization?
Absolutely. And you can actually access that information online. So you can see what formal complaints have been sent over and how they're resolved. So all of that information is public facing.
Can you tell us what kind of complaints were dealt with?
I mean, it goes from just, you know, allegations of being rude, you know, an officer being rude to, you know, there's officer use of force issues. So it's a wide range of complaints.
Yes, and I'm showing my screen now to show our page documenting and putting forth all of the official documents and on complaints and discipline. And we try to make them accessible by giving brief descriptions here. So some of them can have more emotional content. So we try to give a warning here in the description, and you can see a little bit about the wide different types of complaints that we receive. And the really great part about it is that we try to put out as much information about everything that's received, so it's available to the public at any point. And yeah, so it's pretty easy to navigate, and that's the website here, ATX Police Oversight.
Do you think the relationship between the community and the police has improved thus far?
So I don't think I can speak to that. I think it is good I do think it helps the community feel heard. Last night, for example, there was the 8 Can't Wait presentation and policy overview that Carla did. And it was, I mean, they did such an amazing job, and the community, it was a relatively small group compared to what they normally have. This was my first one to be a part of. And the community definitely felt comfortable voicing their opinions and they were diverse, very diverse. And the OPO staff did such an incredible job of honoring and respecting everyone's opinion that I don't think there's any way that couldn't benefit the relationship. It was, yeah, it was good. It was I thought it was good. And I think that allowing, I definitely think it helps. But I don't know, like, what, I don't have I guess a base point of what the community, I don't know what the polling was prior to the OPO.
Right.
I don't know that, but I mean, as far as on an individual level, when I have talked to complainants, because I have done complaint specialist work, letting them feel heard, and then the complaint specialist listens and then walks them through the process and kind of is there. You just, as a complaint specialist, you just walk them through and make sure they're informed and keep them updated on what's going on. And I think that is very beneficial for someone that's feeling harmed by the community, to understand that someone there is listening and trying to make their issue.
I heard you both refer to policies. What kind of policies are you coming up with? Policies for the office or policies for the police, or what?
Policies for the police. So the Office of Police Oversight is tasked with helping rewrite the general orders, which are the policies that govern the police. And right now, so we're, like I said, Carla just did a really great presentation on 8 Can't Wait. And I don't know if you know what that is, but that's the 8 policies. I don't know, Carla, do you want to speak a little bit to that? I'll let you talk. I didn't do those policies. But.
Sure, I can give a brief description. So after, as a result of the last summer's protests and calls and demands for change, City Council passed a series of resolutions aimed at improving the policy, specifically use of force policies. There was a national campaign called 8 Can't Wait, sponsored and started by Campaign Zero, which put out a set of 8 policy, a policy model of 8 use of force policies that you can implement in a local police department to improve safety and to decrease deaths and decrease fatal force, and ultimately decrease the use of force. And what OPO first did was grabbed 6 of those 8 use of force policies having to do with restrict shooting at moving vehicles, banning chokeholds and strangleholds, warning before shooting. Those are just 3, but OPO grabbed 6 of those, compared them to current APD policy, and wrote policy recommendations, so recommended changes. And that's how they stand right now. They're preliminary recommendations. And so that was our phase 1. Phase 2 is getting those preliminary recommendations out to the community for public input. Again, because we want them to be part of the process, the community to be hand in hand with us in having their say on their experiences with use of force locally. And so May 31st, we'll conclude our community engagement with these 6 policies, with OPO policy recommendations, as well as feedback on the way they stand right now. And after that, we'll synthesize all of the information, finalize the final policy recommendations, and send them off to City Council and APD for final consideration and potential implementation to those changes. So I guess this has been like about a year-long project to analyze, show them to the community, and then hopefully package them up and send them to City Council and APD for review. And so yeah, that's an example of something that we've kind of passed along with 2 main teams. Like the policy team got it started by analyzing the national model, comparing it to the local police department, and the community engagement team doing the educational aspect of putting it out there for the community, and of course gathering and compiling public comment.
And do you think, I'm sorry, do you think that the council will accept your recommendations?
I'm not sure, actually. I think that's where the power lies in community engagement and community education, because you give folks the tools necessary to then further advocate at the city level. So we definitely acknowledge that as in our presentations as an area of deficiency, or an area that we acknowledge that this is an absolute. Our recommendations and public input, as important as they are, they're not absolute. And ultimately, City Council and APD have the final word. So it gives more importance to the advocacy at the civil level further on. Once the policy recommendations, the final ones, are in the hands of APD and City Council.
Have other cities or municipalities or anybody contacted your offices for insight for how they could do something similar to yours?
I think that I'm not sure like if there have been a lot, but I know Farah does, the director does get calls and but I don't know from who or what, but I know that Austin is kind of leading the way in a lot of areas, or, it's an interesting office, and the way it works and everything, and the fact that we're part of the policy conversation is not, like, we're actually at the table in a lot of ways when a lot of other police oversight departments don't have quite the same capacity. But I don't know exactly what calls she gets, but I know that Austin's definitely in the national conversation, and I know Farah is definitely part of that, and the offices. So.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of the policing bills are getting stalled in the legislature in terms of making those statewide mandates. Is this something that Austin feels they can do at the local level, at a level that will really make a significant difference or impact on the force, the police force?
I mean, which ones are you talking about, I guess, first, and then I'll tell you if we're working on them.
I know that the George Floyd Act, which was packaged, was broken out into, I think it was 8 components, and I think only 3 were kind of making significant movement. Some of them, I believe, have to do with the use of force, but they get this significant pushback from the police unions, at least at the state legislative level. So I was just wondering if it's easier or harder, at the local level to get some of those measures passed.
I think it's probably easier. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's easier or harder, but I think that with what OPO has been tasked with, the fact that the city council has wanted, OPO to look at 8 Can't Wait, and they've kind of pushed it towards a community focused direction, and put an office that is all about transparency and accountability is kind of, I don't know. I don't know if it makes it easier, but in some ways I think at least there's a different voice at the table in that way. I mean, I don't know if they didn't want to listen to the research and the trends towards those areas, I don't know if they would be funding the research. You know what I mean? Like, hopefully it's for something, and not just, but I think it's, we're doing certain things like I'm doing body worn camera research right now. And I know that's part of some of the bills that are passing or trying to be passed. And I think the recommendations will end up being more protective, I guess, than the state. But again, I have no idea if they'll be what version will end up being accepted. So,
They just seem to be attacking the local control so much. So I'm wondering if whatever you do at the local level, at some point the governor or the legislature will say, no, you can't do that, and pass some ridiculous ban.
oh, right. Yeah, I
Local
hope not.
communities can't do it.
Right now, well, I haven't seen anything that I don't think I've seen anything too much that could hurt what we're doing or the recommendation. I don't know, but I'm not following everything. So,
Well, a lot can happen in the next 2 weeks.
of course,
or
yeah,
not happen, right? So, but thank
for
you.
sure.
I appreciate it.
Are you aware of any other similar efforts in other municipalities, like in Texas, similar to what's going on in Austin?
It's kind of a little bit similar to some of the things that we're doing. I don't know if they're doing the policy stuff, but at least their website looks a little bit like ours and that sort of thing. And I do look at their policies, but as far as like what, like Dallas and what they're actually doing in an oversight policy capacity, at least I can't, I don't know. But I was thinking about talking to someone, over there to see it for our group, to see if maybe we could figure out what they're doing for this purpose. So I don't know. If I have a contact, somebody from OPO has a contact, maybe I can get it for us.
Does anybody have any more questions? And so if people want more information on the organization, where do they go?
Yeah, there's our website is here, atxpoliceoversight.org. Our phone number is here, 512-972-2OPO. There's the traditional phone number, 512-972-2676. We also have socials. We're on Facebook and on Twitter. ATX Police Oversight, Twitter ATX_OPO. And we also have a newsletter if you'd prefer that. I'm happy to shoot that link in the chat as well to sign up for a newsletter. And yeah, I think that's about it. I can also send our email, our community engagement email. And yeah, thank you again so much for your great questions.
Thanks, Carla. You did wonderful.
Crystal, do you have anything further to add?
No, thanks. I guess thanks for having Carla and listening and being interested in the topic. I think that's
Just so you
good.
know, even though there weren't many of us on this call live, we do get a lot of people that view the programs on our YouTube page. So I'll be getting that put up probably tomorrow, certainly by the weekend. And so if any of you have friends that you think would be interested in listening and watching to this, please let them know that that's coming up.
Thank you so much, Carla, for taking the time.
Absolutely.
And thank you for arranging this, Crystal.
Yeah, no problem.
All righty.
All right, I'll have a good evening.
Okay.
Good night.
Bye-bye, everybody.